Hello, everyone, and welcome, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the Divine Messages podcast. My name is T, and I hope you're having a fabulous day. I am sitting here, virtually of course, with Karina. Karina is a psychic medium and Reiki master from Calgary, Alberta. Karina, we have spring in Calgary finally.
Finally, sunshine.
How are you today?
I'm really good. I was sitting in the sun for most of the afternoon and it's just so healing. This is all we've been waiting for, right?
Oh, I know. It's so awesome. And man, sunshine makes me happy. It
The
just
same. The same.
makes me happy. It's good.
Good
It's a good,
healing energy, right?
yeah, it's a good mood
Uh-huh.
changer too. You just, the sun and the
Yep.
heat. I love it.
So I'm feeling good.
Um, yes, today, in case you're wondering, has been 17-ish degrees here in Calgary. Oh my gosh, for April, that is
That's
beautiful. And from
ah,
last week when we spoke
summer.
to y'all, we were at minus something. So, we're feeling it.
So
All
true.
right. Okay.
Sad but true.
Oh my goodness, you all. I am super excited about tonight's episode. All of our episodes, by the way, can be found on Podbean, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Be sure to comment, like, and follow our page. We'd really, really love to hear your thoughts. So tonight, we are talking about the differences between a psychic, a medium, and an intuitive healer. I feel like, Karina, we just need to dive right in here. There's so much to
Sure.
cover. And
A lot.
this, my friends, is an extremely intriguing conversation. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, a tea, or whatever you do when you listen to a podcast. Like go for a run, go for a walk. I don't know. Anyways, just sit back and enjoy this one. This is going to be really cool. So, Karina, where should we start? You, Karina, are all of these things. You are a psychic, you're a medium, you're an intuitive healer. Maybe you can give us all just a quick rundown, or it doesn't have to be quick, I
Sure.
guess. You
Yeah.
just give us a rundown on what each of them
Okay.
means.
Sure. I know it's kind of confusing, right? So psychics are people who get information from their spirit teams or guardian angels, and we can read the other person's energy field. And so, we've had these teams since we were really young, and we've grown up with like trusting that like gut feeling. And so when we're in a psychic reading, I'm say for me, especially like doing a reading for a client, the messages that I'm getting are from their energy field. So it's easy to kind of tap into that because how do I even explain this? It's almost as if I can connect easily with the other person's energy field and their spirit team. So I can give them messages about their life or their purpose in life or direction that they should probably go and give them advice. Now, a medium is someone who connects with the other side, so people who are deceased. And that's a lot more difficult to do. It's you have to go and match the frequency, right? Because everything is energy and frequency. And so going to the other side when I connect, it's trying to get the other deceased person's energy to come into my energy and kind of mesh together. I hope this is going to make sense. And so it takes a little bit of effort to get to that energy field and connect with them and then trust the messages that they're giving. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean?
No,
And
but so amazing.
no.
Okay. So what is an intuitive healer then?
So there's so many different forms like and modalities of healing. And I work as a Reiki master, and obviously you work as a Reiki master as well. And so for Reiki, it's a technique where we're using our intuition to heal the physical ailments and spiritual and emotional issues that arise on a person. And so there's healers out there, but intuitive healing to me is using our intuition to heal those ailments for someone.
Okay. Very cool. Okay, Karina, this might be a very tough question to answer, but what I really want to know, if you can answer it, is
Mm-hmm.
like which one were you first? Like
Oh
whew,
gosh.
I know. I know.
That is a tough question. Well, let me think. I guess, so as a child, I would say that my psychic abilities were the first to be, I guess, yeah, no, I think it was probably the psychic abilities that I was able to tap into when I was younger, because I would have those, feelings about certain things happening. And I knew if I, walked into a room who was talking about me, or the conversations that were had, or I could actually look at a couple and say, oh, they had had a fight just, half an hour ago. There were so many things that I knew, and that I just thought I was really weird. I had no idea that not everybody, could tap into that. And then I started off my journey as an intuitive healer. So that was doing my Reiki course. And I think when I started doing Reiki, that was like a crazy story, because first of all, I didn't even know what Reiki was. And I go to see another healer, and his reading was so moving and so accurate. And he looked at me and he said, you really need to do your Reiki. And I thought, well, that's really weird. You're the second person that said that. I don't even know what it is. He goes, okay, well, I'm having a Reiki share at my house. Why don't you come? And I thought, okay, this is really wonky, but I guess I'll just kind of go and see what it's all about.
And how
And
old
I
were you at
went,
this time?
oh, geez, well, I'm 44. So this is like 6 years ago, something like
Okay.
that, 6, 7 years ago. And
Okay,
so
so you think you were psychic first, and then as you started working as a intuitive healer, you think that the mediumship started to happen.
came, well, yeah, that's kind of a funny story because I
Oh
did
my
not,
gosh, Karina, we don't
you
have that
know,
much time.
I got all kinds of stuff to say. Well, it's funny because I was always so scared of spirits because I saw them since I was a kid. So I wanted nothing, honestly, nothing to do with mediumship. Did I ever tell you the story when I went to Banff and what happened at the Banff Hotel here is really known to be haunted and full of spirits. Did I tell you this?
No, but can you hear my children screaming in the background? Oh my gosh. Children, mommy is working.
This is
Ah,
mom life at its best, right?
okay.
Love it.
You've never told me about the Banff Springs
No?
story. Tell
Oh,
me.
well, this is how I really, I guess, realized that I could deliver messages from the other side, because I had gone in and I had, this is years ago. And so the kids were young and I had splurged on a massage because it's very expensive there. And I thought, I was so excited to do this nice self-care thing for myself, right? I go in and I'm having, they get me all set up on the table, and she starts the massage, and I'm like laying there going, okay, what is happening? I just kept seeing flashes of this woman, and it was so detailed down to what she was wearing, she was showing me photographs. There was like a pony and like a baby, and like I can't even begin to describe all the details that she was showing me. And I'm thinking, what is happening? I just want to relax during this massage, and I can't. And so she's bugging me the whole 60 minutes. Okay. Then the massage ends. The lady's over there washing her hands, and this voice that I hear loud and clear is like, please say something. I said, okay, I've either lost my mind or I'm really hearing someone. And she's going, say something, say something. And I'm going, no, 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 not saying anything. She goes, say something now. And she kind of yelled at me. And I like looked at this lady that's working there, and I said, I am going to sound completely crazy right now, but I had this woman visiting me this entire 60 minutes. And I said, yes, I do like card readings and stuff, but I don't know what's going on. And she's looking at me like I have lost my mind. And I thought, oh, great. I've got to be at the spa for the rest of the day. I'm going to be talked about. There are going to be like some crazy ladies out in the spa there. And so I'm giving her all this information, and she's looking at me like shaking her head. And I said, well, I don't know. Maybe it's for someone that you work with. Like, I don't even know who the message is for. So here I am starting to go into panic mode and fear of like, I just sound ridiculous, and maybe this is in my head. And then I, finished what I was saying. And I just said, look, she yelled at me and asked me to say something. And she looks at me, takes a deep breath, and starts bawling. And she's like, I know exactly who that is. That's my grandmother. And she said, that pony picture that you're talking about there, and with the baby in it, she said that was the last photograph we have of her. And I thought, oh my God, I can't believe that this just happened. And the rest of the day, I was just kind of, I think I was in shock, because it was hard to comprehend what had even happened there. Right? Like, I'm sitting there thinking, my goodness, I just talked to someone's deceased grandmother in a massage. Am I like, God, is it so weird or what? But that's really
Am I
how this
crazy?
started. Yeah. And then slowly it was like, okay, I acknowledge that spirit. So then spirits did start coming around and pretty much knocking on my door, right? Asking me to speak to their loved ones. And they made themselves very loud and I couldn't ignore it. So trust me, when I say I really didn't want to do this, but guess this is what they've always wanted me to do.
Well, and I'm sure, no, I know that you're helping so many people who've lost loved ones connect again, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Very amazing. Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope you guys are all still enjoying your wine and your whatever it is that you're doing and you're still walking or still running. We got a lot more to talk about here. So I think we need to let's talk psychics now. See, now when I think about psychics, I think of like a little old gypsy looking lady with like crazy rings and all these jewelry, and sitting in front of
Yeah.
this huge crystal ball in like a little tiny smoky room with those
Yep.
beaded curtains behind them, like the ding ding ding. That's what I
Yes.
see when I when I think psychics.
True.
And I mean, yeah, before meeting you, really, Hollywood was the only thing I was familiar with psychic, like with Ghost
Yeah.
and Whoopi Goldberg. That was it.
That's well,
She's my only psychic that I know.
I loved that movie, but I
And
think
you look
when
nothing like Whoopi Goldberg, just so you know.
well, yes. Well, it's funny because when people do come, because I, work out of my house and people show up, and I think they are like for those that haven't gone to the website, because my photos are on the website, but there's a lot of the times where someone will pass my business card and it'll just text the number and they show up and they walk in the door and they see me and they're like, oh,
And you're
okay,
just
it's
normal?
you. Well,
You're just
you're
a little
not like
tiny normal thing?
you don't have like all these like necklaces and bandanas and stuff tied to you and a crystal ball sitting in your room, and they think it's kind of like, whoa, okay, this is like just she's just a mom. And it's like it is somewhat normal. And I think that actually my Reiki master told me that years ago. He said, Karina, I think that people are gonna really come to you for help because you're relatable. You're just
Totally.
the mom next door. You're not the, woohoo lady wearing all these things with the crystal ball sitting there, or reading palms or anything. He said, you just give a reading and it's normal, you're
Right.
considered
Normal.
normal. I was like, what the heck is normal anyways? But, and I thought, wow, so people are in shock, first of all, when they come in here and they go, okay, this is not as scary as they thought it was going to be. Like, cause I can't tell you how many people come in and they're shaking and they're sweating and stuff. And they, like I was saying to you like earlier on the phone, that people sometimes think that I'm going to make them levitate off the table or I'm going to do some voodoo or something or black magic. And I'm like,
Ah,
wait a second, let's just stop there. Cause that stuff I don't even like. That
yes.
stuff is, is kind of crazy. And
That is
that's not
not
how
your
we do this.
field.
Ooh, no, I'm all about love and light and helping people to live their best lives. And
Yes.
through being a psychic, there's certain things like, I actually want to talk to you about the clairs is what we call them as healers, but there's clairvoyance, right? And I think
Okay.
it's important for you guys to know the different ones and they're all the sensations we as healers, psychics, mediums that we use in order to give out the messages. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so
Yeah.
right, so clairvoyant. So this is something that is one of my strongest abilities, if you want to say it that way, and that is clear seeing. So it's like visions of the past, things that have happened before, the present, the future, and it's like in your mind's eye. So do you know what I mean when I say that we have like a third eye? And so for clairvoyance, we see out of that eye. It's like if I were to focus on something, I'm watching a movie flash before me. And even as a kid, that's probably why I didn't do so well in school because they say that clairvoyance is like daydreaming. And that's all I did all day long. I would watch little movies of people and their lives. And when I say watching them, it was like, say I'm seeing little short films and pictures that flash in front of my mind's eye. So that's clairvoyance, right? It's clear seeing.
Okay.
And then there's clairaudience, which is clear hearing. So it's your own voice, but not your thoughts. So in a session, I'm hearing all these messages, but I'm hearing it in my own voice. But they're definitely not my thoughts because they're coming in out of nowhere. And that's how I know when I say I'm clairaudient, where I can hear the message that needs to be delivered. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, so you hear it, you hear what you're supposed to say, but you don't hear some big dude saying, "Hello, say
Nope.
this."
No, because if
Okay.
I did hear that, that would freak me out. So no, it's definitely my own.
Okay.
I wouldn't be doing this, I think, if I heard all the crazy voices out there. No, that would really scare
Okay.
me. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's definitely my voice, but not my thoughts.
Okay.
And then the next one is clairsentient. And this is a really important one. And I think a lot of, healers, especially students that come and do their Reiki course, that's their strongest ability. And it is the clear feeling that we get.
Oh,
So when I say that, it's like feeling other people's emotions through your physical senses, your emotional sensations. Most of us that are healers, like 99%, are empaths. So it's feeling other people's emotions. And that's why sometimes like you get choked up or you get emotional and you're feeling the other person's pain, really, or happiness or whatever it is. It's just basically feeling the other person's emotions.
and would it just be emotions? Let's say you're in a reading and whoever is coming through for you is trying to make you feel a heart
Oh,
attack
good
or
point.
something. Like, is
Totally
that
good point.
considered, or is that, yeah,
Absolutely. Gosh, yeah,
okay.
that's a really good way to say it. Yes. So in a reading, I will actually feel that sensation of a brain aneurysm, issues with lungs, or yes, a heart attack or a car accident. I will actually feel the sensations so that I know how they passed. So that would definitely go under clairsentient.
Oh my gosh. So is
And
that must be hard for you?
it
Like,
is.
do you walk away feeling like you just been punch kicked, heart attack, lung,
No.
like, whoa.
No, because I don't think I would be doing this still if I
Well,
did
yeah.
continue feeling that. In that moment of a reading, I can feel the sensation of that brain aneurysm and hurts so bad, and I'm like ready to pass out, and I'm holding on to my chair, and I'll look at the client and say, this is what they're telling me that they passed from, is a brain aneurysm. And they'll say, yes, yes, this is exactly how they went. Instantly gone. Gone. That
Okay. Okay.
sensation is gone, and I can breathe and I can feel better. They only make me experience it, and not everybody makes me experience it through feeling. Sometimes they will tell me directly, I had a car accident, I did this, this is how I passed. And others that aren't as vocal will sometimes, yes, make me feel it. And then as soon as I acknowledge it with their loved one, it is instantly gone.
Wow, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Really
gosh.
neat.
Okay.
Now, the other one, or the next one, is claircognizance, and that one is a clear knowing. So it's knowing things about people, about events that may happen, or things. And for me, that was a really strong one too. When I was growing up, especially when I met my husband, I remember saying to him all the time, this is going to happen, or I feel this. And he'd say, well, that's just crazy. You can't think like that. And then it would happen. And he'd go, oh my God, that's just weird. Because I always had
Who
that
are
strong.
you?
Yeah. Oh, he thought I was weird. I'm sure. I don't know how he stayed with me for 22 years. But he was, thinking, well, that's just crazy. How did you know that that was going to happen? And I said, I actually don't know how to even explain it. So claircognizance is a strong, strong gut feeling and a knowing, and you can't explain where that information is coming from. It's just you're dead set on knowing that this is going to happen, and it's like coming from like the stomach area. It's that clear gut feeling. I know it. This is
Okay.
claircognizance. I know what's going to happen.
Okay.
Now,
Oh my gosh.
the other ones, there's two more. And these two took me a very long time to, I don't want to say master, but maybe open up to, because they are very difficult. And one is clairalience, and that's clear smelling. So I think in a reading, when I'm sitting there with someone and all of a sudden I smell gasoline, I look at the person and I'm like getting flashes of, okay, their vehicle and this or that. And I'm like, okay, they were a mechanic, for example, right? I can smell the gasoline in the air. Or even for all of us, think about it. How many times have you, this experience where you smell someone's perfume or a cigar that your grandfather used to smoke, and they're nowhere in the room, no one's smoking, and you can't explain it.
Right.
That's that sensation. That's that other ability that we have, is to smell things, right?
Cool.
And the last one. This one is something that happens quite frequently these days, but it's clairgustance, where it's clear tasting. So they will actually make me taste whatever thing they're talking about. So if I say to someone, your grandmother used to make these amazing biscuits, and I'll be like, they'll make me taste it, and I'll say it comes with, cinnamon in it and this and butter, and I can taste it for just a fraction of a second, and then it's gone.
Oh,
It's a
well, that
really
must be nice in a way.
well, sometimes it's not, because I tell my clients, I'm like, your grandmother's making me hungry. It tastes so good, or
Right.
but yeah, you can actually taste. So that's another ability. And as healers start working more frequently, their sensations and their clairs they build up. You build up each and every one of them. So sometimes, like, you'll have someone who's really strong with clairvoyance, which was my strongest when I began this. And then I started to develop all the other clairs as I went with work. And how does that happen? That's with practice, right? Practice, 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 practice. And then it
Wow.
becomes just a normal. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Okay, so there are a lot of psychics in the world, and a lot of all of these different things, healers, mediums, but are you all one and the same?
Ooh, definitely, I would say no. So we all have our different strengths and abilities, and some things, and I have a lot of amazing healer friends. And there's, one of my girlfriends who I love to pieces is a shaman. And so she does a lot of healing work, but she's not clairvoyant. Another, soul sister of mine is a psychic, and she's really amazing at what she does, but she's not a medium. So all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. So
Oh,
so I'm going to explain that just a little bit more, because I think it's important. It's when you tap into the other side and you're connecting with spirit, they're the ones giving us all those messages, right? And then so that's something that in a reading, let's say I'm working with a client and I've got a loved one that's coming and sitting with us, and we're getting messages from them. Well, they're giving those messages to help that loved one live their best life. But then if I was just working as a psychic, I would only be able to give them the messages from their spirit team of this, job would be wonderful for you. You maybe need to look at, decreasing your sugar intake, things like that. Now, as a medium and a psychic combined, you can give all of those messages from loved ones and their spirit team. And so we all have different abilities, and some are just stronger than others.
oh my gosh, so amazing. So when clients come to see you, do you predict their future?
Well, any good psychic will tell their client that, yes, we may be able to see snippets of people's future, but a good psychic will tell you that we will not give those predictions. And there's many reasons why. So if I were to say, hey, 3 months from now, this is exactly what's going to happen, that person can do one of two things. They can hang on to that message and try to force it to happen,
Right.
or because we're all gifted with free will, that person can decide to go down the other path. Like, I could have said, hey, this is where I see you going, but then they decide to jump off that path and do something different, and there goes that plan.
Right.
So it is really touchy. Sometimes, yes, I will see something so clearly, and I go with what my spirit team tells me, yes or no, say this to them. So there have been times where I said 6 months from now, there is a man that's going to come into your life, and I see this. But I'm only going to tell people that if I really have that strong feeling that that's the path that they are going to choose, because they can ultimately change it at any time. I think when it comes to psychics that I see this, but I can only guide them and give them advice on which each path looks like, right? I think it's important that we don't give those predictions that are, sometimes people think that, even some will come sit with me and say, I don't want to know about my future. I'm like, I don't want to tell you about that stuff, because you could change it. Right. It doesn't make any sense. And then I think it's also an important thing to mention that, I love to only give advice about good things, love and light. And I know that there are some psychics out there who will give some predictions that are not so great and negative or scary. And I don't first of all, my spirit team doesn't show me any of that stuff because I've told them, no, I don't want to work like that. My job is to lead people to the light and to live their best life and to try to get back on track if they've fallen off. I choose not to see anything dark up ahead or accidents or anything negative because I've seen it happen where people have actually gotten readings like that and they get so fearful and they continue to focus on it and then they manifest it and it happens.
Right. Right. Yeah, we talked about that in our first episode, I believe, of just like your thoughts and how your thoughts can ultimately
They
create our reality.
Put so much fear into someone that they're surrounded by the fear that they can't change that free will path because they're so focused on the fear that they ultimately make it happen.
Right.
So I give only messages about how to live their best life, what they need to work on. And part of being a medium and a psychic for me is going back and looking at their past, not just working on the future or the present. I like to look at the past and look at what led you to who you are today and why are you, going through maybe depression, anxiety, or addiction or anything. I like to look at the past. That's what I love being a healer and say, hey, this is why, and this wasn't dealt with or healed. Let's work on that. And these are the psychic messages that I like to give, is to help heal that.
Cool. Whoa. So can you see for yourself then?
Or
No. Oh.
I wish that, no, I shouldn't say that. I don't wish that I could. I think it would be maybe traumatic to see for myself. So especially for my family and myself, I don't think I could live properly if I knew everything that was going to happen, or I'm given strong gut feelings about so much, and I do trust that, but I can't predict that, hey, in 3 months from now, I'm going to be taking this course or doing that. I can't see that stuff for myself. So, because I can't even imagine trying to see for myself or my family.
Yeah.
I think
I feel like that would be a lot of pressure or a lot of
I don't know. It wouldn't be good, I don't
no.
think. I think I'd be living in maybe more in fear or stressed out. Yeah. Whereas this way I can tell everybody else, sure. Actually, there comes a point too where I'm really close to friends and I find that because I know too much information, that sometimes that makes a reading really difficult. So let's just say you asked me for advice like tomorrow and said, or not advice because it's different. Let's say a reading. And you said, hey, can you, guide me along this way? I'm going to have a really tough time with that because I know everything about you or lots about you. So it's so difficult to give that kind of psychic information. And when I've got a client, all I know is a first name usually and a phone number. And I tell everyone that either sits with me or I do a phone reading with, I say, please don't say anything to me. I will tell you why you're here. I will tell you what your spirit team wants you to know. And at the end, if you want to ask a question, by all means, go for it. But I don't want to know any details, no information whatsoever, because then it's so much easier for me to do my job because I'm not influenced by anything. It's boom, boom, boom. I get this, right? Really
you have to decipher between your own, the messages you're getting and your own. Okay.
Yeah, right? It's like, imagine sitting there for your best friend and saying, hey, well, so I think you should take this course next month, but you already know that because she's told you that. So it makes our job much more difficult when we are reading for a loved one or a friend. So usually my friends will give me quick questions just to answer fast so I can give them as best advice as I can. But that's how I have to do it with them.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So this has been then a lifelong journey for you when, you were seeing spirits since you were little, and then, into your adulthood is when you actually started working and tuning into your abilities, let's just say. So since meeting your husband, like, did he know that you were this, this amazing unicorn that you are here? Like, how did this affect your
Unicorn.
relationship at all? Unicorn.
That's funny. When I met him when I was 21 and he was 19 and I'm 44 now, so it's been a long time. And in those first few years, I mean, yeah, I would say things to him that kind of freaked him out, but he would just kind of brush it off like, oh, okay, Karina, I don't know what you're talking about, and just almost not ignore it, but like he just didn't engage in it. Life went on, and then we decided to have our kids. And when I was I think I was 30, 32 when I had my first son. And so I really didn't, see a lot of spirits or anything around that time because obviously life was busy. But then when I decided to take my Reiki course, actually, first of all, I was going to see healers and stuff like that. And he supported it. He said, yeah, go for it. But then I went and did my Reiki course. And I think that was really, really hard on him because I was coming home, I was dealing with, emotional upset, emotional trauma, and I was like kind of a mess, to be honest. And I was working through that with Reiki and the healers that I was working with. And I think it did put a little bit of a brick in between us because I think he started to not feel like I was myself. And then, of course, I started doing, I was doing Reiki and then I was doing angel cards. And he was always so supportive. Like, I'm so glad you're doing this. But he would put me behind like a wall almost like, okay, that's your thing. I'm proud of you, but I don't want to know about it,
Right.
And it was only when his grandfather passed away that he really was shown what I do and then became a full supporter. So his grandfather had passed away and we had flown out to Nova Scotia. And 2 days, like we were staying at his dad's place. This is his dad's father, who I was really, really close to. And 2 days after he passed, I literally saw him in my father-in-law's apartment. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's been 2 days. There is no way I'm saying anything to my father-in-law. And of course, he was telling me I had to, so I did. And that was when Nick's dad decided that he said to me, he's like, he said, you told me word for word, Karina, what I said into my father's ear and what I did the day he was cremated. He said, I will never, ever doubt what you do again. And so he was saying that to me in front of Nick, and Nick was just sitting there, yeah, nodding and stuff. But I knew he was really freaked out by it. And it took, I think it was almost 6 months later, we were sitting in our backyard. This is like on a summer night, and all of a sudden I see his grandfather, and I think, oh no, not right now, because I don't want to go there with Nick. Like, I don't want to freak him out anymore. And his grandfather said, no, now's the time. You need to say something. And I turned to Nick and I said, look, please don't be upset with me, but I know you get, kind of weirded out by this stuff, but I need to tell you about your grandfather because he's here and he's not going to go away until I give you these messages. And they were so specific, like down to the way he held the urn at the funeral home where there was nobody in the room. And he said, he sat there and he just started to cry and he couldn't speak. And it took him a good probably 10 minutes before he could talk to me again. And he said, it's not that I doubted you before. He said, I just didn't understand it. He said, but I will never, ever doubt you again. And he said, and I believe this so much because he said, nobody would know that, Karina. And I said, I'm so glad that you do understand it now because it makes me feel maybe a bit more supported. So now that after that happened, oh my God, he went out and he started telling everybody. I was like, okay, wait, hold on. Please don't tell everybody. So he went and told his entire office that I was working as a medium. And oh my God, if anybody needed to come see me, they should, I don't know. He was telling everybody. And I thought, wow, what a turnaround, because he went and all of a sudden really started to feel it, know it, and be my biggest supporter. And I needed that, really, to be honest, because it's a tough job. And it's so nice to have somebody on your side who believes in you so much and that loves you unconditionally. That's a pretty big gift for me because I really don't think I could do this work if he wasn't on my side.
Whew, I had goosebumps that entire time.
Mm.
Glad
he's on my side now because
exactly.
Like I said, I couldn't do this without him. I'm glad he understands it. And I think that's a gift,
Total. Right on. Now for me, when I started my journey, I was intrigued by Reiki. And just the idea that you can heal your physical ailments through mental and emotional balancing and through energy work. I love Reiki. I'm a strong, strong believer in Reiki. But I had no idea that Reiki was as intuitive as it is. And Reiki doesn't always have to be intuitive. There are a lot of Reiki healers out there who just do energy work and it's not intuitive. However, when I do Reiki on clients, it is very intuitive. And oh my gosh, sometimes I can't even imagine some of the messages that I get. And I think that it is so, so cool. However, I don't know that had I known Reiki could be intuitive, that I would have pursued it, and only because of fear and uncertainty, I guess, when you talk about this whole other world and this whole other realm. So yeah, once
you realize that I wasn't scary and I wasn't dark or evil, or
That's right.
You know that,
Yeah.
right? The fear would be there of the judgment, and especially how you were raised. We were raised very similarly, like in our households and our religious beliefs. And I think that even growing up for myself, I had a mother who would tell me that psychics are bad, they're evil, and I was terrified of psychics, to be honest, for years. So I do understand your fears of, how it could be viewed by, close family and friends and things like that. But when I started doing the work and I recognized that, wait a second, I have seen the good and I have seen the bad. And I know that what I do comes with only pure love.
Right.
I knew that it wasn't wrong.
Yeah. So then why is it? Like, why do psychics have such a bad rap?
Whew, that's a long conversation, but we'll try to say it this way. So, okay, first of all, I'll say this. There's a lot of great psychics out there, and then there's some not so great psychics. And I think that there have been so many people that have been accused of cold reading. Have you ever heard of cold readings? Have you ever heard that term?
What is that?
No? Okay. Well, like, cold readings are, people have been accused of reading someone's body language, their mannerisms. They wait for cues on if they were to get emotional or cry and say, oh, see, I knew that. That's what a cold reading can be, I think, from my view, is described as. And for me, I guess when I look at people who do this work, when it comes from a place of pure love and we want to help others, those messages are like I can't read somebody's energy because I can't even look at a person during a session. I don't know if you've ever noticed that or not during a session, but I have to focus on something and look away. And I watch little movie clips. I see like flashes in front of my eyes and stuff. I can't even look at the person during a reading. So I think there's the people out there that are doing wonderful, pure love, good readings. And then there's the others who are maybe getting some messages, but then maybe fishing for some more information from somebody. So that's why I like to sit with someone and say, please don't tell me anything. Do not say a word. If I ask you anything, it's got to be just yes or no, and that's it. Because I don't want to be influenced in any way of someone's situation. And I think a lot of psychics out there that, sorry to say, but some of the ones that you call in, the 1-800 numbers, you might get a couple out of the group that are wonderful. And then there's others who are just maybe doing it for the wrong reasons. Let's say it that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Karina, holy, like this was our longest episode yet. But I think we touched on we knew it was going to be intense. We knew it was going to be long. Yes. We hope you're all still there. Are you all still there? Hello? I know you're all still there. You wouldn't miss it. So we learned a lot about psychics tonight, and it fascinates me every time. I think that it is so cool. Like, I just think it's so cool. One of the things that I think we can take from this is just remembering, and I will speak only Karina's behalf because she is all that I am familiar with, but the messages received and the work being done is only and always in the highest of goodness of light. It is not meant to be feared, and the messages received, there's just no denying the healing that comes from that. So, okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the Divine Messages podcast. I am T, and together with Karina, we want to say thank you, good night, and we'll see you next time. Karina, thank you. See you soon.
Good night, T.
Bye.
Bye.
Please bear in mind that the perspectives and opinions represented in this podcast are based solely on our own interpretation. We can in no way be held responsible for the actions of our listeners.